nobody really ever identified what is George's religion. The bigger question is, what is the religion that he converts to? So I just started figuring it's got to be a made-up religion.
I'm virtually Orthodox. All I have to do is read a few books, memorize a few prayers, and I'm in the club.
That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it. By Christmas Day, I will be Brother Costanza.
And what is Brother Costanza planning on telling Mother Costanza?
Brother Costanza will be taking the vow of silence.
So I just started making a list of Lithuanian Orthodox and a variety of just really crisscrossing country names. And I finally came up with one called Latvian Orthodox, and that sounded funny and right.
Is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
No, it's a regular religion.
I'm calling my lawyer. It might not be too late to get out of this.
I don't want to get out of it!
But George, you don't know what you're saying. You're under their control.
What? They brainwashed you?
And wouldn't you know it, I got a letter of thanks from the head of the Latvian Orthodox Church saying, we so appreciate you drawing attention to our little known, there is a Latvian Orthodox. I didn't even know it. And the funniest thing is, they weren't annoyed in the least. They were thrilled to pieces. Who even ever knew? They sent me a T-shirt, Latvian Orthodox Church, and I have a couple of other thank you letters from the bishop. So anyway, little did I know, I didn't invent the religion at all.
A lot of our personal issues on Seinfeld, Jerry's, Larry's, my own, were bathroom issues. And like I told you, I had the office next to theirs. They had a bathroom in their office, which is kind of a real privilege. But I kind of would just take it upon myself to use their bathroom all the time, which led to the story where George was fired by his boss for using the boss's bathroom. So bathrooms were a big deal. After that, I was kind of relegated to the hallway bathroom at Radford. And there would always be out of toilet paper. It was always a problem. And concurrently, I read a Dear Abby in which they talked about two women getting into a fight over toilet paper in a bathroom. And the mystery of a woman's bathroom to a man is a kind of a gigantic thing. And so, and Elaine is the kind of person that would not let that go, obviously. So that's when I got the idea of putting them in the bathroom, in the stalls, and the woman being greedy with the toilet paper.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is kind of embarrassing, but there's no toilet paper over here.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I just forgot to check, so if you could spare some.
No, I'm sorry.
What?
Watching the stall episode again, the fact that they showed two women sitting on a toilet talking, I think is kind of remarkable. It's just such an area that no one had gone into, people talking from stall to stall and passing toilet paper back and forth. It's all sort of so disgusting.
Oh, damn. Something wrong? Yeah, there's no toilet paper in here. I usually check, but would you mind?
I can't. I don't have it. I don't have a square to spare. I can't spare a square.
Hey, wait a minute. I know you.
That's right, honey. And I know you. Go!
The one thing about the stall that haunts me to this day is that if somebody knows I'm going to the bathroom in a public toilet, I am often asked if I could spare a square. And everybody thinks that's so funny. And it's a little bit irritating when you're trying to go to the bathroom to have to sort of be Elaine again.
You gotta relax. Try to yodel. Yodel.
I was a little afraid when I saw the script for the stall because all the rock climbing stuff was in there, and I have a tremendous fear of heights. I thought, where are we going for this? Because I knew we did location work, and I just thought, oh, this is not good. And then they brought in the wall, and we did it all right there on the set. I was about 4 feet off the ground and quite comfortable and happy.
We brought in a climbing wall, a fake mountain climbing wall, and Kramer was climbing this wall, and I opened my big mouth and said, you know, we could make it look much higher doing it against blue screen or green screen, and setting Kramer way up top and matting in real mountains behind him. So left to that chore, a number of us went locally here to one of the few mountains that resembled a rocky structure, and we got to the top, shot the piece, and then matted it in behind Kramer. So as he's hanging up there and dangling on this line, really gives you the perspective that he was up, 50, 60 feet.
But when I think back on it, I wish I had gotten more entangled in the ropes, and that was a wonderful opportunity to do some real physical comedy. I regret that episode. I remember walking away from it all going, oh boy, what was I thinking? They had me up there at 10 feet in the air with a harness, and oh my God, that's the stuff that you really can fly with.
Now picture this. We find a nice sweet spot between the dunes. We take out our drivers, we tee up, and that ball goes sailing up into the sky, holds there for a moment, and then...
Kramer's interest in golfing was given to me by Larry David, because Larry David had a great love for golfing. In his office, he had the club and the ball going about the room.
When we shot the scene with Kramer on the beach hitting the golf ball, we had the camera photograph a couple of the rest of us that were golfers, and Larry David hit one pretty good, and I realized what a good athlete he is. He had a very nice golf swing. Michael, fortunately, was supposed to miss the ball a couple of times, and it was easy for him to do.
But I'm not a golfer. People see my swing on the show and go, boy, you should be golfing. I go, no. I throw the ball. I like to throw the ball. I've gone golfing with some people. They've asked me to go golfing with them, and I just wanted to throw the ball. They go, what are you doing? I says, that's my shot. Go.
As a matter of fact, Michael hit me in the head with a golf clubs once and cut my eye in the middle of shooting. And right before we shot it, I said, are you going to be okay with that? And he goes, don't worry, I've never hurt anyone. I swear to you, he said that. And then I got a huge shiner and a big cut right here.
Oh, was a rebel.
Oh, all right?
Yeah.
You all right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not all right.
When we shot that show, I had 102 fever. And I remember trying to get through that night. Was a bit tricky. Not helped by being bashed in the head with a golf club. Or a set of golf clubs, actually. The full set.
What's going on over here? There's a beached whale. She's dying.
Is anyone here a marine biologist?
In the Marine Biologist, we had the need for, Larry wanted a whale out in the water that George walks out to save.
Our line producer at the time, Joan Van Horn, said, well, let's rent the whale from Free Willy. And we called one of the executives at Castle Rock and said, hey, can you call over to Warner Brothers and see if we can rent this whale? Well, there was a misunderstanding. I think he thought we wanted Keiko or whoever the whale was. We just wanted the mechanical whale. So we were denied access to the whale.
And so we resorted to digital imagery, and we created a fake whale out in the surf. And it looked really, really good. And Larry in the mixing room saw it and thought, you know what, it looks fantastic. It looks like a real whale, but I don't think we need a whale. I think just having him marching out there into nowhere, out into the ocean is better. And after 30 hours of digital work on the whale, the whale sunk to the bottom and never did see the whale.
I remember one day thinking about the show. Something was missing, we needed something, and I started to think about those golf balls. And then, of course, sometimes you really know you got bingo, the idea of the golf ball and the blowhole and bringing those two stories together.
The night before we shot, we wrote that whole long fish story for Jason. And we were so excited. That was one of our rare late night rewrites. We really did very little of that. And I remember Larry and I having a real laughing fit writing that speech.
Larry came over, he said, you're a quick study, right? And I said, yeah, what do you need? He said, I got an idea. Can you handle like a page monologue? I said, yeah, probably, sure. He said, you won't be afraid to try it just in front of the audience because we're not going to be able to rehearse it. I said, let's go.
We were so worried that Jason was not going to be able to learn all this in one day. Of course, Jason was a master quick study.
You are seeing it, it's a rehearsal. You're seeing a rehearsal in front of an audience.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli. I got about 50 feet out, and suddenly, the great beast appeared before me. I tell you, he was 10 stories high if he was a foot.
If you watch that scene, you will see the look on my face is strictly, I am not in that scene at all, except to kind of encourage him to remember this speech that we had worked so hard on, and I thought was going to be such a great laugh. If it came out right, I know the lines, and I'm thinking them along with him as he's saying them.
And it was one take, never touched it after that. I mean, there was no pickup, no reshoot. It was gold.
As I watched him struggling, I realized that something was obstructing its breathing. From where I was standing, I could see directly into the eye of the great fish.
Mammal.
Whatever.
Hey, what did you do next?
Well, then, from out of nowhere, a huge tidal wave lifted me, tossed me like a cork, and I found myself right on top of him, face to face with the blowhole. I could barely see from the waves crashing down upon me, but I knew something was there. So I reached my hand in, felt around, and pulled out the obstruction.
What is that, a Titleist?
I'm telling you, like a wall, like getting hit by a truck is how that laugh came pouring in.
Not only was that one of the biggest laughs in the history of the show, if not the biggest, but it was the great gesture of being able to pull it out.
You can only do something like that if it's at the end of a show. You couldn't do that as an act break because nobody believes it. But as a big joke to end the show, where you don't have to do anything after it because that's the end of the show, you can get away with it. And I put my hand in and he pulls up a golf ball.
That is one of my favorite perfect moments. That, along with Terry Hatcher, and they're spectacular, and Julia, and they're all laid out for you. Being great exit. We didn't have that many of those things that are really just that capper.
We used to just try to talk to Jerry and Larry as much as possible and see if there was anything in their recent life that they just might not have remembered that was funny and stupid that could be turned into an episode. I mean, Larry, pretty much anything remotely interesting to him usually writes in his little book. You know, so he's got like a good steel trap mind for remembering all this stuff. But so a lot of stuff we get out of, like Jerry would just tell an anecdote and we'd go, hey, you know, why don't we make that a story?
Or, you know, it's funny, the best way to get a story from Jerry is if he was actually mad about something and he wasn't joking about it. Because he actually had this story where he was angrily talking about, so I offered her a piece of my pie and she wouldn't take a bite of the pie. Why wouldn't she take the bite of the pie? And you know, after he left, we were like, that's kind of a strange thing to get mad about. And then like the next day we pitched, so someone wouldn't take a bite of pie from you, and he really responded to that.
Take some.
No, thanks.
You're not gonna have any?
No.
Do you not like apple pie?
No, it's not that.
Come on, try it. A little taste. Come on.
So my agent said there's this character, Poppy, and he's owner of a restaurant. And I thought, well, gee, he's just a restaurant guy. And he said, well, no, he's not just a restaurant guy.
Ah, Jerry. Tonight you're in for a real treat. I'm personally going to prepare the dinner for you and my Audrey.
We did it without any line. I didn't have to say anything. We just did it with the gesture, and that told the whole story.
Is anything wrong?
Nothing.
You look like you've seen a ghost.
Him winking as he continues cooking. That was good, funny stuff.
The day after the show aired, I used to run a lot back then, and I'd run over at Harvard Westlake, at the quarter-mile track. I remember I was running, and there was a group of guys, young high school students, who spotted me, and they must have had it set up, but they started with "Pretty Sloppy Poppy," and it's gone on like that forever.
You Poppy?
I'm a puppy.
I think you better come with me.
What's the problem?
What do they want from Poppy?
Well, Poppy's a little slumpy.
Seinfeld has given me a new life in the sense that a whole, young high school age guys who weren't really aware of me suddenly were saying hi on the street. Very cool.
The stand-in episode was inspired by the little people, I'll use the politically correct term, who would be stand-ins for a lot of the child actors on shows that were being filmed on the lot.
A lot of little people in this town do stand-in work for kids because they can, adults can have long hours and kids can only be on the set for a few hours a day, depending on their age. And when I first came to Los Angeles, it's something I dabbled in a little bit. I did do a little stand-in work. The kid I stand in for, he's growing. He was 4 feet last month. Now he's like 4'2½". He shot up 2.5 inches. I could do 4'2". 4'3's a stretch. Any higher than that, I'm gonna be out on my ass doing that paralegal crap.
How do you stop a kid from growing?
I told you should offer him some cigarettes.
I offered him cigarettes, but his stupid mother's always hanging around. She won't let him have any.
What about lifts?
Out of the question.
Can't you just switch with another midget?
Ooh. It's little people. You got that?
Easy, Mickey, easy.
We cast Danny Woodburn as Mickey, and we actually had, I think, a day and a half to find him.
When I saw Danny come to the door, I just said, this is great. This is just our relationship, our look. And Danny's bearing, his kind of character. I was just delighted in the making of a comedy team.
This never would have happened if you didn't push me to get those things. I told you.
Hey, nobody put a gun to your head.
Yeah, well, just keep out of my business, you big ape.
What do you call him, big ape?
Telling you an ape. Here, come on. To trigger Mickey's rage is pretty much the easiest thing to do when it comes to Kramer. I mean, he just has to bump me wrong, and I'm gonna snap.
One of the edges that I love that occurred between us in character was that Mickey could beat Kramer up.
Michael and I would go off to whatever set we were supposed to be on and rehearse all the physical stuff, So that definitely helped our relationship, and it helped me from getting injured.
I was very careful to make sure that neither of us got hurt.
Whenever he would go down or do something, I would see him with the stunt guy padding up, and I'm like, Michael, I don't have any pads. And he's like, don't worry about it, Danny, don't worry about it. Ah! Ah!
I had a special back brace made so that I could take the blow of his entire body coming at me and then sending me, right off. Whoa! Like that? Yeah. But I went straight back. And I don't have a back brace on now, but I spotted myself enough to survive that one. But you get the picture.
Good night.
Good night.
Well.
The story about the guy taking it out of his pants on a date, as if somehow this would be appealing in any way to anybody, that happened to Carol Leifer, who was a writer on staff.
He took it out.
He what?
He took it out.
He took what out?
It?
He took it out?
Yes, sirree, Bob.
It's funny because I remember when we shot that scene in Jerry's apartment, when I come in and I say, he took it out. And that whole scene, I remember shooting that. I remember thinking it didn't get as many laughs as I thought it should as we were shooting it for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe sometimes when we knew things were really super duper funny, we anticipated guffaws. I actually think we thought the show was even funnier than most people thought it was. We were kind of arrogant about it. Maybe Roseanne Barr was right after all. We thought we were doing Shakespeare.